usually the second half is a lot more entertaining and a lot more open, a lot more athletic.
I admire optimism as it is. They're really just sparring at the moment, these two sides, once again, looking for that opening. Maybe looking just to get to the point in the half when physicality and fitness levels become a factor. It's well read and well intercepted, and away they come once again through. Pluim picks out his man. There was an opportunity to slide a through ball there, just didn't take it. Rizky Sanjaya it was who had that opportunity, and instead it's a little bit of a mix-up of two challenges in midfield that really weren't expected, and as a result Taufik went down. Abdul Rahman found something to complain about. And really it was the two players running into one another there, the two teammates. Possibility of a dead leg in there. That's what upset Abdul Rahman.
Yeah, he's not normally a whinger, Abdul Rahman. He's a very robust player in his own right. I think the circumstances got a bit beyond him there.
No harm done. Away they go once again. The ever-present Pluim, nicely done. KÆNH Jr. looking to get around. Oh, that's a hefty challenge on him, and as such it is penalised. Ali Rabo it was, who just got a bit too much of him there, and this is a position of some danger just outside the Bindwong penalty area. It's a talking to, but nothing more than that.
It's a rash challenge, isn't it? He's just a yard behind his man. I think he would argue he got a little bit on the ball, but these days that's not enough.
A little on the ball, a lot on the man.
On his man, yeah.
It's all about control at situations like that, and there wasn't a great deal from Ali Rabo there. So, having conceded that one, the man from Burkina Faso now has to join his defenders in trying to ensure this doesn't lead to anything more harmful than just a free kick. It's clock standing over it. Very close. And it's a question of up, over, round, power, or is it just going to be left and lifted there into a position where they can attack it?
Noticeable, Pluim's not in the picture there. He's a giant of a man, but he has no great fondness for heading the football.
Funny old game, as they say. So they have got plenty of bodies in there, 5 of them for PSM, and it's dragged back to nobody, unfortunately. Something was wrong communication-wise there. Mark Clark pulled it back, only though to a blue-shirted Bindong defender, and that really was a wasted opportunity.
It's got to be one of the worst free kicks that we've seen taken, really. He managed to pick out an unmarked opponent in the penalty area.
On the penalty spot.
Yeah. Oh, well, back to the drawing board for that one.
All right. Fascinated, and you've obviously seen a lot more of Pluim than me, to think that that man isn't able to be a physical presence in the area. That is something of a waste of resources. Nicely done out to the right-hand side, where there's plenty of room to get across in here. It's flicked up in the air from Evans, not the most convincing. And as it just runs out of play down this near side here, it's going to be a Bindong ball. Quickly taken, the throw, nice turn. Pluim was back there just doing what he does well, just covering for his side. Oof, and that's another wrap around the shin guard there for KÆNH Jr., and that's a little bit hefty from Trung Trinh.
But that one was borderline. I think the referee was just saying you're a fraction away from a yellow card there. It's a fairly cynical challenge, that, isn't it? It was nowhere near the ball at the time.
Well, you don't have to be a lip reader to know. You're absolutely right, Jamie. That was right. Next one and you're carded. And it's still fairly early in this game, just 20 minutes or so on the clock right now. Not particularly what you want your young left back to be doing this early in the game, picking up a caution. So again, we find ourselves in a lull as PSM Makassar look to just build from the back and do so patiently. Well, the coaching staff not entirely happy with what was happening there, but again, the captain trying to make something out of not very much at all.
He really has got some very extravagant touches on the ball. Looks very improbable. And of course, it is down to the home team to make the running. If they're going to allow their opponents to dwell on the ball and kill the time, then I think Makassar will be very happy about that.
And they'll be happy enough with this because probably the most dangerous Bindong player, Van Vu, started that move, but he was deep inside his own half, and really that's not where they want him at all. And now in that unfamiliar position, he'll switch with his fullback. He's committed a foul. Looked like the challenge of a winger really there, and as a result it's going to be PSM with an opportunity far over on that left-hand side. Taufik happy to just roll it inside. Clock now, and he'll continue that movement towards the right. This time it doesn't stick, and that's nicely played out from the back. And this is what Bindong do well, when they can get those little triangles going, when they can move the ball, as the better Vietnamese sides do. And there's an opportunity for Victor Mansarai there, who goes shoulder to shoulder, and it's a splendid battle, it has to be said, that one. Asnawi giving no quarter there.
No, certainly he's in boxing parlance it would be a catchweight contest. A little bit rash his final challenge. This is a good one, and then I think he sees red a little bit there. That wasn't there for him to win. Should have just stood his ground as a player was going away from goal.
Now this is a dangerous position, a chance to get some real movement on this ball and maybe arrow it in under that crossbar. They're all lined up in there. Wanda Louise, an obvious target, and you feel that Captain Plum's going to have to play a major role here, like it or not. They've gone far post, it's kept in play, and there is Plum, who does manage to manufacture a header assault, and away it goes. Danger only half cleared though, and that's floated back in. They make something of it nicely. Le Tantai keeps it alive. Out to the right they go. Wanda Louise has stayed out, and there he is. Looks up, looks for his options, takes a sensible one. Can they get the ball in? Yes, they do. And it's a sliding clearance from Evans.
Well, there's no question which side is executing the set pieces to greater effect. Again, Bindong looking dangerous when they took that ball.
It's twice now they've got round the back, haven't they, with nobody paying much attention on the far back. And that will have been noted by Bindong, that there are opportunities presenting themselves from these set plays. That's well won in the tackle, and there are now spaces opening up on the left-hand side of that PSM Makassar defence, but they're bailed out by the assistant who's seen an infringement, awarding a free kick to the visitors. Just a couple of moments back though, Jamie, we saw a little bit of progressive passing play from Bindong, which really is something that we see from the better Vietnamese teams at all age group levels now, including the full national side. That's when they're at their best, when they are able to show that close control, able to pass and move, and that's something that this man will be aware of. He spoke about them playing long balls earlier on to the two strikers. It's not always that way. No,
we've seen this. They've looked at their best when they've been moving the ball around. They've got good mobility as well. It's a very modern game that the Vietnamese play. As you say, they're playing it at every level, club and international level.
Yeah, there's consistency from them here. We're seeing an interesting mixture of approaches here from PSM Makassar, who look as if they've got the physicality in terms of the edge. That might have been a little bit strong in the challenge there. Again, the referee resists the temptation to reach for his card.
There's a suspicion that Taufik might be making rather a lot of this one. Let's have a look.
Oh, Van Vu catches him.
Yeah, he does. And if you look at that left ankle, it does turn over quite uncomfortably.
So maybe a little bit lucky to get away with what was really a messy challenge there to Van Vu. Taufik's not sufficiently inconvenienced to not be able to take the free kick, which he does, and away we go again. 9 fouls committed by BINH Dào hiNG. And fortunately there, a hang of the head from William Plum as that ball rolls out of play somewhat embarrassingly. And away we go with BINH Dào hiNG into, you'd like to say, one of the danger men. Juan de Luis, there's another one. And what looked like a good tackle, a ball-winning tackle, has again been adjudged to have been illegal by referee Rohan Arumagan. Just to see that one again, as once more it's a free kick in a potentially dangerous position for Beckham ex BINH Dào hiNG.
It was Rashid Bakri who got himself into trouble in the first place, losing the ball in a fairly dangerous area.
Well, it's the number 14, Le Tan Tai, who stands over this one. We've seen decent delivery with his right foot so far, but there's a whole cabal of players who look as if they fancy this one, not least the number 11. And of course, when you're ĐUN NG, you pull rank just about on everybody. The captain might fancy something here.
Well, there's plenty of room to get the ball up and down, that's the good thing. I just feel that that's what, close to 35 yards, maybe a little bit too far.
Well, he's adopted the pose of someone who strikes a free kick. Let's see if it is him or if it's Le Tan Tai. It is Anduk, and there was never going to be enough power on that one as it sails harmlessly wide.
Yeah, Rifki had that one covered comfortably, didn't he? Scampered across to the far post and just watched the ball go past.
We had a couple of those in a game we were covering last night, and you feel in modern parlance you really need to look for that so-called knuckle ball. You need to be hitting into the valve. You need something to happen explosively on that ball to make it trouble a keeper from that kind of range. Curl alone, surely not enough for a keeper of Rifki's quality. Oh, that's decently struck out to the far side, looking for Van Vu, who's kept possession of the ball, and now he makes a foray infield but gives it away. And they can build here, that's neatly done. Little give and go there involving Plum, but it's lost in midfield. Yet to really string much together in those midfield areas. We've got Sul Zamran operating wide. We've got Rashid Bakri struggling to get on the ball as much as perhaps he might like. Rizky Sanjaya as well. I haven't really seen enough of them linking up with the captain. And in contrast, we've seen some fairly good work in the wide areas from BINH Dào hiNG so far. Much of that which has been good from them has come from the likes of Mansarai or Van Vu over on the right side. Well, Mark Klock's decided he's going to take over proceedings here, but he's running really into a blind alley, and the ball is lost. Mansarai uses his strength to win it back, and again the whistle goes maybe a little bit sooner than some of us might have wanted.
I think if we take a look at that again from Mansarai, we will find that it was a foul. But it's one of those that you usually get away with. A referee a little bit on the fussy side, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, this is just an objective assessment. It's just punctuated the game a little bit too much. It's not allowing things to flow just now, but he's got his job to do. He will be assessed, and yeah, you're absolutely right. If it was a foul, he has to give it. There's Mansarai once again. Opportunity for the switch, nicely done. And there's Le Tan Tai, and he gets his head down and he goes again. Van Vu's got an option. Instead he goes for the cross, looking for Juan de Luis, couldn't pick him out. And that's ambitious from Le Tan Tai from some way out. Juan de Luis is still in there scrapping for it, and they could do with clearing this, which they eventually managed to do. A little over eager in the attention there.
think 30 minutes gone, 0-0 is absolutely where the game should be. I think both sides have shown little bits of quality, but neither side has gained much of an ascendancy over a length of time.
Well, that wasn't really his strongest suit, Abdul Rahman. They're trying to play a ball into Guy Jr. and missing by some way. So possession surrendered, and BINH Dào look to continue with what's more of a possession-based game. If we're going to be broadly analytical about these two sides' approach so far. The only thing is, though, they need to find some penetration to go with it. And with Unduk struggling really to get on the end of anything so far, those balls up top haven't caused much trouble. It's 1 against 3. And in the end, he manages to dig a shot out, but Guy Jr. there was really looking for a corner as much as anything.
I think he'll be pretty pleased with his work there. Certainly held the ball up nicely to begin with. Has a look round, there's nobody in support. Okay, I'll have a go at goal. Took a deflection. If it hadn't taken a deflection, it would have worked the keeper.
And as a result, an opportunity. Yep, you're absolutely right. The tallest man on the pitch will not be getting on the end of this one because he's going to be delivering it. The PSM captain, Willem Plum, but nothing wrong with that given the quality he has on the ball. So he's got another 5 PSM Makassar players to aim at. Goes very, very deep indeed. Back it comes in, but the second ball was very comfortably BINH DàOng's. A little lack of quality there, I'm afraid, which is maybe one of the reasons why we haven't seen the goal just yet, be it on the transition, be it on that ability to turn the ball over and make something effective happen. Half a chance there when that set piece was squandered, because very often we see teams scoring when the opposition has misplaced something from a set piece, but they weren't good enough, BINH DàOng, to get out there.
Well, we shouldn't be
there
surprised.
There we are. The squeeze is on. Look, Jamie.
Yep. Shouldn't be surprised that BINH DàOng are defensively sound. They've really, I think they conceded 3 goals in their second game in the competition, and outside of that, they've only let in 2 goals in total. Very good defensively.
Well, they've got some defending to do right now. That's an angled ball out to the right-hand side. Are these long legs of Plum going to make it? Yes, is the answer there. Oh, that's lovely. Lovely feet. Now, can he pick a pass at the end of this one? Does he need to? Unfortunately, he undid all of the good work. All of those good feet, but they're still alive in this, and there's a player free on the far post if they can pick him out. In the end, a bit scrappy from BINH DàOng, but they half clear. Still not out, though. Taufik picks things up here. That's a good ball to Plum. Can he finish? Went for the spectacular. Well, he's involved in everything.
Well, he's great fun to watch. You always get entertainment from him. The ball hoisted up there. You might have expected him to go with his head, but if you've watched him play, you're not surprised to see him go for the extravagant with his foot. He's capable of it.
It does look really as if anything's going to happen, it's going to come from him. In fact, what was more interesting really, Jamie, was the passage of play a minute or so, well, maybe even 30 seconds before that, when he brilliantly kept the ball in at the corner flag, took on a couple of players with great feet, and then lost the ball.
And then overran it. And I guess that's why he's playing his football in Indonesia, John, and not plying his trade back in Holland. Because he's got tremendous feet. I bet he's amazing playing 5-a-side football, small-sided games, but it doesn't work frequently enough. It's got to work nearly every time. Sometimes it comes off and it's amazing. The bit of skill in the corner was lovely.
So still we await an opening goal. We've got just over 10 minutes to go in this first half of this first leg of our ASEAN zonal semi-final here in the AFC Cup competition. Not really much to choose between these two sides. We spoke about some gulfs in quality in terms of the group stage play in this competition. And remember, this is a competition for emerging nations, and well, these two look as if they're pretty well matched. Well, that was a little bit risky there, and Mansarai managed to just duck in. Opportunity on the turn. Snapshot. And Wonder Louise just got the turn, couldn't quite keep the ball down. Idea was there, and the execution wasn't that far off in the end.
No, and he'll be pleased to have gotten a chance. You know, when you're playing as a striker, you can go long periods with barely touching the ball, and at least in that situation he was there having a pop at goal.
Well, there's the stat that really tells you all you need to know. That shot from Wonder Louise was only their second of the half, and that will disappoint them really here. Now, Plum's gone down here. Looks as if he did catch a blow to the face. Someone's done well to reach that high.
We did say he's got no fondness in going for headers. That was a situation where he had to go for it.
Might just have caught the back of someone's head by the looks of things here, and it's a painful blow.
I thought it was an accidental one.
Well, it was Ali Rabo jumping. The arm was up.
The arm's raised,
hand maybe was raised by the Burkina Faso defender there, but he looks shocked to have been adjudged to have fouled him.
You can see he's only got eye for the ball, but that right arm is raised.
Well, he's still down. Is the most influential player, it must be said, for PSM Makassar, so they will take their time and make sure that everything is absolutely right with William Plum. Let's just be sure there's no ill intent there. As you can see, eyes on the ball, but the hand reaches out. Maybe not entirely necessarily, but I don't think, Jamie, and you're someone who in your playing career will have been on the receiving end of plenty of those. How would you grade that?
It's not one of the worst, is it? It's the hand, it's not the elbow. When it's the point of the elbow, that's the really painful one.
Well, anyway, it's earned PSM Makassar a free kick. Clock inevitably is over it. And once again, the threat really coming from Guy Jr. Evans has pushed forward for this one as well. There's the signal as to where this one's going. They haven't made the most of their set pieces so far in this half. What can they do with this one? Clock lines it up, right-footed, just curls it in towards the keeper. Too close really. And now a chance on the transition, on the break here for BINH Dảo. Lifted across and well left. Mansarai couldn't get it first time, gets it at the second attempt. Does he take his man on? No, instead pushes it in. Lay, who misread the situation, thought Mansarai might have been making a run there. And in the end, that's very tidily defended by Asnawi. Well, Plum's up and about again. Well, that's a neat little ball into the feet there. Half a chance, no foul this time, says the referee. Trungton it was who thought he had been fouled there, and away we come down the left-hand side.
Breaks on here, John.
Zamrun, if he can get his head up, he's got a couple of players for company. Gets the cross in, and there were two bodies in the box there. One of them Plum, the other Guy Jr. Still just about PSM Makassar's ball, but it kind of fizzles out, and that really is illustrative of much of what we've seen in this half.
I'm afraid so, yeah. That was a really good situation. He had two men in the middle against actually only one defender, but the cross not deep enough, not high enough, and too many things have looked promising and then fizzled out.
So scoreless we are in the 40th minute of this match. The shadows have virtually covered the pitch, and so, Jamie, I'm going to hold you to your
promise of better
better second half in terms of athleticism and perhaps even quality at the end of it.
I think the pace has picked up as the half has worn on. If you remember the sort of soporific rate that it started at.
Yeah, it was slow in the sun from the kickoff, it must be said, but no harm done for either side. Both coaches will stress that point. They are exactly where they were at the start of this match, at the start of this first leg of this semi-final, and with what's at stake, they'll be happy enough with their work. Well, he's looking for a foul there and not being given it. That was Đứng. And with just under 5 minutes remaining, are we going to see a significant moment in this match here?
I think there's too much at stake for that, John. You know, they've gone 40 minutes into the game. Don't want to give anything away just before the half.
Get into the half and then see where you are from there is what you're saying. Yeah, understandable clock, just works it out to the left. The ever-willing Taufik, not the best ball there, not much that can come of that. And back they go again. Evans to his central defensive partner, Abdul Rahman. Out it comes once more to Asnawi. That's nicely done. And the fullback goes for a run. He's brought down crudely. Is that a card, you wonder? Because he was past his man there. And there it is. It was a player who had been warned about his behaviour, ḍUN. And sure enough, he has now received that yellow.
There can be no complaints about that refereeing at all. I think that's really good work. It's a nice piece of skill.
And he was away. He was in behind.
Yeah, it's a silly challenge. And in view of what's happened before, ḍUN, natural candidate for the first yellow.
Question is now, do we get more from Klopp in terms of quality here? It's a wonderful position. He's got players who can run onto this, and you look at that space between that line of defenders and the goalkeeper, and surely that's where it's got to go.
Across the 6-yard line there.
But it doesn't. They change the angle, not for the better perhaps. And in the end, that rather straight ball is easily dealt with.
Why would you do that? If you're trying to cross the ball, where Klopp had the ball is where you want to be. Where Bloom got the ball isn't where you want to be. I don't know.
One or two of the PSM Makassar plans have perplexed us, I think it's fair to say. But, well, that's a pity. That was a great opportunity. Asnawi, who created it for them, goes for that long throw down the line. There is Bloom once again. There are those good feet as he just changes direction. Looks to switch play with the left foot. Van Voot, neatly done. Around his man he goes. Now, how far can he get? That's a good ball. Chips it down the right-hand side. And Juan de Luis waits for the support to come. It's there again from Van Voot. They've got players on the far post. If they can pick him out, that's blocked. Half cleared. And in the end, throwing bodies at this one. PSM Makassar just about get away with it.
Best move of the game. No question at all about that.
And they're going to come again. That's nicely done.
That right-hand side is looking good, and actually I thought it was a really good ball played in by Van Voot, and could easily have been the opening goal.
Yeah, we've seen them interchanging Ho Tan Tai and To Van Voot down that right-hand side, and once they got that ball in behind, there was real danger. Well, that was the end of the move, and that was where we saw Abdul Rahman go down, probably just suffering a little bit there, having overstretched in clearing what was a dangerous moment, the most dangerous, as you rightly said, of the half for the visiting team. Still, they weather that particular storm, and they edge closer and closer to a half-time that might just come along with parity here at the BINH Dào hiNG Stadium. Nothing fancy about that one, just hoofed downfield by Ali Rabo there. And Duck looks as if he's not at all impressed by the challenge. He was on the receiving end there, grabs his throat. Abdul Rahman comes to have a word. Referee doesn't look particularly impressed by what's happened here for the captain. Always wonder if that's really going to help. Abdul Rahman not helping the situation a great deal by just yanking there on Win and Duck, as if to say, come on, up you get.
No, we often see players doing that to one another. I'm never sure that it's really doing any good. And with really just a minute or so to go to half-time, I think Abdul Rahman's really saying, look, come on, get up. We can all have a break in a minute. It's
also perhaps sometimes a little way of saying, come on, it wasn't that bad of a challenge. Let's judge for ourselves now. Well, it was a shoulder barge, wasn't it? And that's probably why he's saying nothing wrong with that. Get up, as probably most central defenders would do.
Yeah, but when you shoulder barge, the ball should be somewhere near you at the time, and the ball was still travelling in the air. Having said that, it wasn't such a robust challenge that you need to roll around on the ground for too long.
It's interesting to see what we're seeing from WINDONG, as I suggested earlier on, and this was, you know, purely based on hearsay. There had been suggestions that there'd been some kind of a falling out between the now departed coach ÞrŭＮG and the captain and veteran player who he wasn't picking. He wasn't getting in the team, and just wonder if maybe he was looking at WINDONG as a waning force, not perhaps the player he once was.
That happens to everyone eventually.
There's Pluim, just drags a short ball, cuffs it to the left. He wants to go again on the right-hand side. And that was never going to find him, but it's still with PSM Makassar. It was until Mansarai plays a very clever ball infield. Time's running a little bit short, though, for anything to happen in this first half. And there's a show of dissent there as two players are separated. Referee in the right place at the right time, but we don't want to see that. Referee just nudged back a little bit there by clearly incensed PSM Makassar player. In that case, it was Rizky Sanjaya.
Well, that's a strong challenge coming in, wasn't it, from Rizky initially. The referee's blown up for that, and I think it's all getting a bit tetchy, and I think they probably do need to cool down at half-time.
So, hot heads all around. And it looks very much as if this will be the last meaningful action of this half. Just thumped forward, rather hopefully there, by Ali Rabo, and barely any time for Guy Jr. and company to string anything together here. But there's a ball from Pluim that might just cause trouble down the left-hand side. That's well defended. Had to stay alert there, did Ho, and he turned nicely, Ho Tantai, and made a necessary challenge.
That was an interesting ball from Pluim there. And very well dealt with by Ho Tantai, who I think has really caught the eye in this first half.
Yep, defensively and offensively, done an awful lot of work down the right-hand side. But it's been a first half, really, of what-ifs and maybes, with moments and flashes of potential, not really leading to anything particular. Neither of the keepers unduly troubled in this first half, and with the promise of a shade that's fallen across the pitch, and perhaps more to come in the second half, we get to half-time in this first leg of our ASEAN Zonal semi-final in the AFC Cup, with a scoreline that maybe shouldn't surprise anyone. It's been a little bit cagey at times. It's lacked a little bit in terms of quality, and as a result of that, the two sides troop off saying, well, we are where we were at the start of this one. So it's half-time, time for us to take a break. We'll come back with more from the BINDONG Stadium, and the scoreline is 0-0.
Yes, and not much to talk about from the first half, it has to be said, although a flurry of activity towards the latter stages perhaps suggests that the second half might be a little bit more entertaining. We'll look ahead to that after this short break.
Sunday, UFC Fight Night. Matchup. Live Sunday on Fox Sports.
This is Formula E, and we go green.
Howdy, you're on the charge. The charge hit me. No, through. Get ready to activate attack mode. We are P1. It's going down the inside. One more lap. If anyone's race to win, we got this. Come on. This is ours to win.
The Championships is always a colourful affair, with luscious green lawns.
Ready, play.
Stars in brilliant white attire.
Roger Federer!
Hitting purple patches.
Back at the top of the game.
To create golden moments.
What a play!
That last forever.
Angelique Kerber. Bravo, Djokovic.
These are the colours of Wimbledon, a tradition of greatness. Live on the Fox Sports Network.